Hi everyone, welcome back to the Money Wisdom Podcast. Today I'm going to be the host because we are starting a series. Actually, it's not the starting of a series, but this is the first time we are interviewing someone for our Ikigai miniseries. The first time we did this series, you saw me interviewing my coach who taught me about Ikigai. But today we are very happy to have a guest that will share about her own Ikigai, her Ikigai decisions, and how she make financial decisions to support her Ikigai decisions. And hopefully through this sharing, we get inspired, we learn to know what is our Ikigai, and we learn to first make life decisions, or sometimes I call it Ikigai decisions, before we make our financial decisions. This is really, really the objective of this podcast. So I'm going to introduce my guest today. And it's a bit weird that I say I'm going to introduce my guest today because I see her almost every day. She's none other than our COO, Moon. Moon has been our COO since I don't know how many years already, but as a staff, as a fellow colleague, I think she joined us since 2008. Yeah, so it's been almost 17 years with us. Now, although I see her almost every day, and I really mean almost every day, beside the working day, we worship in the same church. So I see her on a Saturday, I see her on a Sunday. But today I'm going to find out things from her that maybe I don't even know. And like I said, hopefully that inspire you to make your Ikigai decision. So, Moon, welcome to the Money Wisdom Podcast. This is the first time or the second time that you are here with us at Money Wisdom Podcast?
First one.
Is it the first one?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So welcome to the studio. Welcome to the Money Wisdom Podcast.
Thank you, Chris.
So maybe start, okay? Because yes, we know you, but the audience may not know you. Maybe tell us a little bit about yourself, where you came from, a bit about your family. I've introduced you as a CEO, but maybe explain a bit about what you do. Yeah, so go ahead.
Yeah, so my name is Moon. I'm the group COO, overseeing the back support functions of the company and basically looking after the operational aspect of the business, right? So on a personal level, I'm a mother of two girls. They are 19 and 15s, right? So I was not born in Singapore. I'm actually I was born in Indonesia, to be specific, in Jakarta. So I came to Singapore when during the Suharto era, when there was racial riots. So that kind of like pushed me to explore, to leave Indonesia. And then
did you come willingly, or your parents pushed you here?
Parents pushed me.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think for the safety of their daughters, at the point in time I was still single. So I think they wanted me to leave the country, and then resided in Singapore. So I studied here. I took my master in NTU.
At that time, you already finished your bachelor?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yeah, so I worked for a few years in Indonesia. Then because of the riot, I had to kind of like study in Singapore. And then married here. And and now I'm a proud Singaporean.
You're Singaporean. So when you came here, did you come here alone, or your sisters followed you and they all came over?
I think during that racial riot, there was like a period of time when everybody actually left the country,
including your parents,
including my parents,
okay,
including my siblings and the whole families, right, members. So, but then after a while, they have to return.
Go back.
Yeah. So like within a month, they have to return.
Because your family has got their own business to run and all that.
Correct. Yeah. So I think for me, I stay on in Singapore alone. Yeah.
I know we didn't prepare you for this, but how was it like staying alone in Singapore? I mean, you were studying then, right? You were not working when you were residing in Singapore, or are you working and studying at the same time?
No, I think the Singapore has a very strict immigration rules. So if you study, you study. You can't study and work at the same time. So, but I think after that riot, what happened is that I had to apply for I was on social visit pass. And social visit pass, they only give you a very short period of time to stay. So, I have to go and look for education, kind of like,
As a reason
courses.
to stay lah.
Yes, to stay, to apply for a student pass.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you did your MBA with NTU.
Correct, that's right.
In accountancy, right?
In accountancy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, thanks for sharing. Maybe it's good to tell us a little bit about what you do or what you enjoy to do on a day-to-day basis. I mean, not just about work. I mean, I think work is nothing really exciting to share, but you can share. But tell us also, what you do on a day-to-day basis out of work.
Yeah, just that I don't know whether this is exciting lah. So
Yeah.
I mean,
accountants usually, nothing. Okay, I'm just kidding.
yeah. So I think on the I like to start my day early lah, because I'm quite a morning person. So usually I get up like 5:30 to 6. So it's just that the morning kind of like energize me. So it gives me like, it's new days, new beginning, new possibility, right? So I like to wake up early, right? So what I'll do usually, I will like, start my exercise routine, half an hour, whether it's a run, do some cardio or strength or stretching.
Every day?
Every day,
Some form of exercise every
Some
day.
form of exercise, yeah. So then after that, prep myself to send my younger daughter to school by 7, and then before coming to work.
Okay.
Right. So I think before I start work, I usually try to find time to quieten down my heart. Basically, because I think when you're rushing in the morning, right, you tend to, your minds will be like everywhere. So it's really just to quieten down my heart, and then my scattered senses, right, bring it back, and then do a little bit of devotions. I think starting the day right
Read
is
the Bible.
important lah. Yeah, it's important because it calms me down and keep me focused throughout the day.
Okay. And then what happens after that? I mean, after your work, you go back. What else do you do? And what else do you do over the weekend besides working? I know we work very hard, but besides work, what else do you enjoy doing?
So, I mean, nothing special on the weekday nights. We usually spend time with my family. So, not so much on watching TV, but we do have like every day, Friday night, we set aside this time for...
Only Friday? The rest of the day you don't watch TV?
Not really.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so Friday night is the movie night. So that's when everybody like go study, no work, really just, be there, right? So I think, but on the weekday nights, what we do is we will just be together doing our own things, but in the same space. Okay. So, my girls will be studying, revising, doing their homework. Then my husband and I will be either reading books or do our own things.
Okay.
But in the same space. So I think the essence is just, we just want to be together.
Okay.
Doing everything together lah.
Yeah.
Right. So I think my husband started this routine when
that's very good.
Yeah, when my girls were sitting for the important exam, right? The O-level and the PSLE. It's like, to be fair, everybody have to study together. Okay. So we are accompanying each other to kind of like do things together.
Okay,
yeah.
So it's in a common space, and then you all do things together.
Yes.
Weekends, that's like weekday, weekend, same thing. You're studying and working.
Weekend, then that's where it's more relaxing. I mean, for the parents, cleaning, doing household chores, right?
Okay.
And reconnecting with family and friends.
Yeah, so in Ikigai, and you've been exposed to the Ikigai that I shared with everybody, right? One of the sources of Ikigai, and again, if you are listening to this for the first time, the word Ikigai is often misunderstood word. If you go and search Ikigai on the internet, you will see the 4-circle Venn diagram. That is not the correct version of Ikigai, or at least that's not the Japanese idea of what Ikigai is all about. It's a useful model. It is just not the way the Japanese will describe Ikigai. Ikigai in Japanese is actually 2 words, Iki and Gai. Iki means daily living, and Gai is things that are of worth. So if you put Ikigai together, it is really about doing things on a daily basis that gives you joy. It's doing things on a daily basis that is of worth, that's of value. Sometimes the Japanese called Ikigai, the reason that they wake up in the morning for. And there are different sources of Ikigai, meaning there are different things that you do that will give you Ikigai. And it might not be the big things, right? So what you have described to us so far are seemingly the mundane things in life, seemingly boring, because you do the same thing on a daily basis. There are routines. But what would you say gives you joy? Right? What are the things that gives you that small joy in life that you feel you can call it Ikigai? That when you wake up in the morning, wow, you look forward to it. And when you do it, you're like, wow, yeah, life is worth living.
Yeah.
Maybe you can describe and share some of the small joys in life.
So I think I'm a bit more because we have never been exposed. I've never been exposed to Ikigai before. So when you started introduce this concept to us, I'm a bit more intentional in terms of finding out like, actually, what's my small joy in life, right? I don't think I can settle with one. So, but I think for one, like for example, because I'm a morning person, I have this, I like morning fresh air.
Okay.
I don't know why.
So
I
you
don't
go
know how
out,
to
do you go out
describe
the
it.
room?
I mean, when I do my
house?
routine run, right?
Okay.
I like the morning, especially the morning lah.
Not the evening.
No.
Okay.
It's specifically morning.
Okay, I'm opposite. I love the evening.
It's a fresh air.
Okay.
And then it just brings smile to my face. So but I don't know why. I just like it. So
okay.
I think this is my ikigai. I don't know.
Okay.
So
yeah, that's definitely ikigai, the morning fresh air.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
what
I mean,
else?
Singapore is overall the the air quality is good. So so I always have that right opportunity to have that. So I think the second one is more of like spending time with my girls especially So I think they're at the age where they don't want to touch you. They don't want you to touch them, hug them, or basically hang out with them
My daughter loves to touch me and hug me.
Now maybe when they are teenagers,
Oh, that's true when they're teenagers, yeah.
So I think there are times when before their big times, they will come and lie down beside me.
Now still at this age.
Yeah.
Okay.
But rare. Like getting rarer now.
The older one or the younger one?
Both.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying is that when both of them, beside me, it's just like talking nonsense or just being there for each other.
Okay.
I mean, I like that.
Okay, that's another small joy. What else? What else will give you small joy? I mean, besides the daily things that you do, because all these things that you describe, right? They are the daily things.
Yeah.
I'm sure some weekends are just different. Or when you go overseas, holiday, small joys. Are there any other things that gives you seemingly simple things, but it just brings you joy?
Is that connection with the families,
Okay.
Because I don't travel. We don't travel alone. Usually, we usually travel together.
Except for work, if you do.
Except
travel.
for work, yes. So we can't imagine occasion where we travels without our children. So. I mean, we want to share the happiness with, the exposure to see the, the countries and everything together. Yeah.
So how would you feel if you don't get to do these things? I mean, because at some point in your life, the children will grow up and you wish that they will get married, right?
Yes.
And they're going to move away when they get married. Are you prepared for the day whereby you will not get to do some of these things?
Not yet prepared.
Okay, not yet prepared.
Not yet prepared, but I think I have to face that reality that
Okay.
one day it will actually come, right? I mean, let's just talk about my first one was the fresh air, right? So I think for me is it's the health is very important. I mean, there's no point of if I'm sick, I'm bedridden, how can I enjoy the fresh air as easily as now, right? So that's one. I mean, not even you can't replace that with money. I think health is very important, right? So I think you also know that last year I have this health scare, right? So and I had to go for my surgery. So I think it kind of like when this kind of thing happens, it gives you a different perspective on life, right? It's like money is something that is a tool that you use to that you can use to do your own things, give you options, give you freedom. But what's the point of having that money if you don't have the health?
Yeah. And what's the use of having money if you don't get to do those small joys in life that you have described? So if I take you back to 10 years ago, looking at where you are today, are there anything that you will do differently, knowing where you are today? Are there any of such things?
I think when
especially concerning money.
Yeah, I think when my girls were growing up, we spent quite a lot of time and financial resources, in creating memories with them, right? So, so we won't have like so much of surplus in terms of for our retirements, right? Because we want to spend to purposely kind of create memories with them, with travels, but on hindsight, I don't think I regret it lah. I was still
Why would you?
It's important, and they grow up so fast. You won't have that opportunity anymore in terms of creating the memories with them lah.
Hi listener, we hope you've been enjoying this episode and the podcast series so far. If this podcast has been beneficial to you, please give us a rating on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast platform. And if you're watching this on YouTube, do like this video and subscribe to not miss our future episodes. Thank you, and let's get back to the episode.
So, Moon, all these years, you must have made certain trade-offs in your life, beg your pardon, especially with regard to money, in order to pursue your Ikigai. Because, you have shared quite a bit with us, and I realized that a lot of your Ikigai has got to do with your family. You're a very family person. Family is very important for you, particularly your two daughters, right? You talk about spending time with them. You talk about in the evening, they lie on the bed together with you, that conversation. I can see that relationship with your daughter itself, they are not just your sources of Ikigai. They are your Ikigai. You wake up in the morning, they are like the reason why you wake up in the morning. The morning air, the fresh air, yes, that's an Ikigai. That gives you that joy. But just from your sharing itself, your children is really your Ikigai. You have many. I'm not saying that they are your only Ikigai, but I'm just saying that they are definitely your Ikigai. Mm-hmm. They are the reason why you live. They are the reason why you open up your eyes in the morning and you get excited about. And I'm sure you have made certain trade-offs in your life in order to enable this Ikigai. Can you share some of these trade-offs that you have made?
Yeah, so I think in the early years, when we were like traveling when they were younger, so we went to Australia quite often because it's quite a friendly kind of like country for children, young children. Right. So they love Australia. They love the weather. They don't need to learn Chinese, especially in Australia, because they were struggling in Chinese. So they always they wanted to also study overseas, right? Furthering their university studies in Australia. So my husband and I kind of have made plans even when they were still in their kindergartens to set aside money for their educations in Australia. Yeah, for both of them. Yeah, so in order for us to hit that, we have to make sure that we have sufficient surplus. We're very prudent in managing our money, making sure that we have set aside money, right? In fact, our savings is in the, Providend's portfolio, since 2013, right? So more than 12 years ago, and I'm thankful to Providend also through the good investing experience we have. We are ready to support them when they are ready to.
When are they ready?
My eldest one will be going next year.
Okay.
And then the youngest one will be going a year after that. So, in 1 or 2 years, we'll be withdrawing the money for their education needs.
So you have to make a lot of sacrifices in order to save enough money for them.
Yeah. So
Right.
I always tell my children, my family, it's not that we can't afford it. It's we choose not to spend it, on that. But having said that, we also
When
don't
when you say it's not that we cannot afford it, what you are saying is that you are telling them that it is not we cannot afford to spend on certain luxuries today.
Yes, that's right.
Right? Is that we choose not to spend it so that we can save the money. And then, of course, part of the reason why you are saving the money is to support them to go to Australia. And they know that.
Yeah, they know that. Yeah.
So, I mean, since you mentioned that, right? Obviously having enough money to be able to save is very important. And earning a good income will give you a higher propensity to save, right? So I think no one else know, but I know that many years back, you had an opportunity to leave Providend to go to a bigger organization and possibly be better paid. And because it's a bigger organization, a lot more depth in the organization, you probably can rise up in your career. And you were doing finance with us at that point in time. Right. You're not doing ops yet. You're doing finance with us, and you possibly can move to that direction of a CFO, and all that. But in the end, you didn't. Can you tell us a little bit about the reason why you make the decision to stay with us instead of moving to that organization?
Yeah, so it was an attractive offer, I would say, because the pay was a lot more, much better, right? I think in the earlier years also, Providend was still a growing company, right? So there are some risk. I mean, we can't afford to pay, staff as as
well.
much as other company that's more established, right? So there is that temptation, I would say. So I went for an interview, So I was offered, but so. Is back to what is it that I wanted to achieve in life also, right? And what's more important. So I think at that time, my girls were still very young, right? So the ability to be with them in their growing up years is the priority for me, right?
Yeah.
So and then I was exploring that hybrid work arrangements in Providend, right? That allows me to be able to be with my children's at home and doing my works at the same time, right? I think that suits me better in terms of what I want to achieve in my life.
So what you're saying is that if you had gone to the organization, well, it's an attractive offer, the pay is higher, the ability to move up the corporate ladder, you probably move much higher because it's a bigger organization. But the sacrifice is that you probably will not be able to work from home. I mean, there's a price to pay to earn a good salary, right?
Yes.
So that will take away your time from your children, and so you decided not to make this trade-off. So you decided to stay on so that you can spend more time with your children. So in a way, that is making a financial decision to support your Ikigai decision. And your Ikigai decision came first. Your Ikigai decision is because your children, they are Ikigai. The Ikigai decision is that, I want to give whatever time that I have now while they are still growing up to spend with them. Yeah. So you made that trade-off.
That's right.
So now, looking forward, right? I mean, you've spoken about the fresh air, the small joy. You've spoken about your children being the Ikigai. Have you thought about an Ikigai goal that you want to achieve going forward? Children aside, okay, no more children. Don't talk about your children, because one day, like it or not, they are going to be gone. They are going to get married. They're going to leave you. Yeah, you are no longer going to be you are no longer going to be their priority, sadly, but it's a fact. And you want that to be a fact because you want them to now spend time with their own family, their children. And so it's just you and your husband. So it's just you, no more children.
Yeah, I understand.
What would be the Ikigai now going forward?
Honestly, I'm still exploring because it's not easy, right? I mean,
not easy to do.
Not easy to land on one kind of or a few Ikigai goals that I wanted to do, like, after I retire, for example, right? What I'm going to do, because my children will have their own lives, then what's my source of Ikigai then, right? I mean, to be honest, I have not landed on one because...
Okay, no, you can tell 10.
No, I mean, I haven't landed on anything because I think I'm still also exploring in terms of, okay, what's my retirement plans, right? Once I decide to step down in terms of not doing my, from Providend, not doing my COO roles, what is it that I wanted to do, right?
You have a group CEO role.
Yeah, from my group CEO role. So,
Yeah.
so
Not COO, no? I'm saying that from the COO role, you can step down from your COO role
Yes.
and move to the group CEO role. So that can be a new Ikigai.
Okay, I think I'm more looking forward to what is it that I wanted to achieve for the rest of my life.
Okay. Have you thought about it roughly at all?
No.
I mean, like for me, I've shared very openly that, if I can, I want to go build a resort in Batam, and then do life coaching, cut a big house, cut the whole house into two, one side. Do you have things like that?
Yeah, so I envy you, Chris, that you're so clear that you know what you want to do. Right. So I think, okay, maybe I'm the only one or to have this struggle, so what's next, right? After your career, right? I'm sure there's more than
me or you?
Career. Me lah.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure there's more than that. But what is it I want to do? What's my purpose in life, right? What is my strengths? What's my values? How do I then use all this, for me to achieve my Ikigai? But I have not actually landed one.
Okay.
I mean, I'm still exploring. So that's why I say I envy you, Chris, because you're so clear in terms of your path, right? So you can actually kind of like have a roadmap on what you want to do. Whether is it going to be my faith? Am I going to, work on my faith? How am I going to help people? I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, but thanks for sharing so authentically. But I mean, really, if you're listening to this is really the point. I mean, for us at Providend, we strongly believe that we first have to make life decisions before we make our financial decisions, right? Because our life decisions will guide us on how to make financial decisions to support that life decisions. And of course, today, we call life decisions in Providend as the Ikigai decisions, right? Decisions that you make that will allow you to do things on a daily basis, that will give you meaning in life, do things on a daily basis that is of worth. And once you are very clear with that, then financial decisions, well, it may not be easier, but it's definitely not harder, right? Because you have clarity. And in your case, you are very clear that your children, they are your Ikigai, and you're prepared to make self-sacrifice or personal sacrifices so that you can save up enough money to send them overseas. You are prepared to make sacrifices by turning down a much better paying job many years ago so that you can spend time. That decision, although not easy, is clearer. But I thought you ended well by saying you are not sure what is your future Ikigai. I say you ended well because it's authentic, but it's a reminder to all of us and to, if you are listening to this, right, that if you do not know your Ikigai decision, if you do not know what in the future that you want to give your life to, it's going to be very difficult to make financial decision to support it. Yeah, so whether it's Moon or whether it's you listening to this right now, I hope in some ways this podcast has motivated you to sit down and to think about, yes, what is my Ikigai? What are the things that I want to do that will give me meaning? If you have not thought about it, this is a good time to think about it. And only after you have thought about these things, then you look at your finances and you see how you can adjust your finances to make sure that when you want to live out these Ikigai decisions, your money is able to support you. So thank you very much for spending the time with us. And for the rest of you, I hope you have enjoyed this particular episode, our Ikigai mini-series. And if you like our content, we strongly encourage you to not just subscribe to it, not just to like it, but please share it with your family and friends. Thank you once again, and I'll see you in the next episode.
All analysis, views or opinions from interviews, recommendations and other information broadcasted, podcasted or published herein are provided for general information purposes only. Information expressed does not take into account any specific situation, particular needs or objectives and should not be construed as specific advice or a recommendation. Information has been obtained from sources that are deemed to be reliable, but their accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed. Always consult with a qualified investment, legal or tax professional before taking any action. Providend Limited does not accept any liability for any loss whatsoever arising from any use of the information broadcasted, podcasted or published herein. All contents and information contained herein may not be copied or reproduced in whole or in part by any means without prior written consent of Providend Limited.